Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about this week's NXT. Apollo Crews evidently has some sort of eye problem he needs looked at, Larson.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the latest on WWE's developmental process, the oh-so-important process when they bring people in, develop them, and then, make toys out of them and entertain the people with them. We're going to talk about a look at that. The Good Brothers are going to be in the news because their contracts, evidently, with Impact, coming up. Where are they going to be headed next? I don't know, but they're going to be talking about stuff, so we're going to be talking about what they're talking about. Yeah. A lot of people are asking about the status of Saraya now that she is AEW. What's her role going to be with the company? Wrestler, manager? We might have an indication. We'll talk about that. But first up, over the past, coming up on, 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Wow, it's been 3 weeks already.
Since Brawl Out. It feels like it's been a year, to be honest with you. That media scrum felt like both forever ago and just last week. But, one of the biggest questions following Muffin Mania, Brawl Out, Scrumgate, whatever you want to call it, has been what's going to happen now to CM Punk?
What's going to happen with Phil?
Yeah, what's going on? What's happening with Phil? Larson, do we have any idea as to what's happening with Phil?
Well, during PW Torches. Yeah, I will. Sure, gosh, give me a moment here.
Forget it, fill us in.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
No, that's what that was the thing. I wasn't yelling at you. I was making a pun.
Well, it felt like I was being attacked. I'm old and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And I'm sore.
Yeah.
And I work with Steve. Anyways, during PW Torch's AEW Dynamite Grand Slam recap, Wade Keller noted that there was one name conspicuously missing when Ian Riccoboni listed off past ROH champs during the Claudio Chris Jericho bout, and that was former ROH champ Phillip Brooks, CM Punk. Which led Keller to speculate that Phil may not be back with AEW. These transcripts come to you from WrestlingNews.co. Quote, I think this is noteworthy, but not surprising that he excluded CM Punk's name as he talked about some of the biggest names who have held that title. That's a bit of a tell. As I talked with Jason Powell yesterday about, I am not expecting CM Punk to wrestle in AEW again. I'm not saying it's a 100% sure thing, but everything is pointing in the direction of some sort of buyout of his contract. We'll learn more eventually about that situation.
So, they basically removed him and the Elite from the intro stuff. Have they been removed from have they all been removed from the roster page as well?
No, they're still on the roster page, but like all marketing stuff, seemingly the intro to the show, they don't mention them. Kind of like full stop. Any of them on TV, there's been no reference that I can think of. Direct reference, apart from MJF referencing, I think, Going to Sleep or something like that, one of his promos since he returned. While this investigation is ongoing, I'm sure that's going to be the norm. Once the investigation concludes and once they decide what action they're going to take, then we'll see who comes back and who doesn't, It seems to be that simple at this juncture.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I don't know how there's any. We had sort of suspected that, what Dave Meltzer had speculated not long ago that there might be lawsuits filed. I wonder if they're going to try to, deal with this quickly and quietly so that doesn't happen, because nobody really needs that.
Well, I think, too, if it's a situation where it seems inevitable that CM Punk and AEW are going to part ways, rather than fire him and potentially risk a lawsuit, you negotiate a buyout. So to hopefully avoid any sort of legal entanglement because of the Brawl Out situation.
They've been able to get some momentum back fairly quickly. With a couple of good episodes of their programming, with Grand Slam, which I think everybody can agree with, it was a big success last night.
A solid show, yeah.
Apparently some big things are happening during the tapings and are going to be happening on Rampage. So I'm looking forward to watching Grand Slam Rampage. And then there was a report from Fightful, I believe, that indicated that backstage, the backstage atmosphere is as positive as it's been in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
I
believe Fightful was clear not to necessarily lay blame for a less than ideal backstage environment on either Punk or the Elite. Just noting that since Brawl Out and the suspensions, it's been better.
Yeah, thank you. I was just about to clarify. No idea as to if their absence affects that at all. I mean, sometimes you got to go through some shit to pull together. And so speculating on the whys is probably not very responsible. But that being said, you want to continue this positive movement. You want to continue that positive momentum, seemingly both backstage and on the on-screen product. And there was some interesting story beats at Grand Slam. And I think what they're proving is sort of what, maybe they should have known all along. Maybe Tony should have realized, hey, AEW is not one person. It is not one person. You have so much talent there that you can roll with. The Trustbusters, for example. And you're able to do a really good number last week. I'm sure today's number, which we'll probably be getting very shortly, very soon, is probably going to be pretty darn good too. It ain't one person. Nope. And you can't sit there and label somebody the end all be all. It's a team effort.
It really is.
We all tune in for different reasons and a variety of reasons. So I would imagine that, any messiness when it comes to lawsuits and whatnot, they probably want to avoid. And so it'll be interesting to see, how this moves forward. I would just, my Steve speculation, I would think the Elite's going to be back. And I'd be shocked if CM Punk came back, simply because he was the face of all this and he was the one who went out there and stuck his foot in his mouth. So that's pure speculation on my part. I would be surprised if anything went the other way, but I guess anything is possible in wrestling, especially these days when it seems like, anything is possible.
Yeah, I know. We have last night's number in for Dynamite, 1.039 million.
Oh, that's nice.
Which is down a little bit from last week, about 100 and some thousand, I think.
Yeah.
And then a 0.35 in the demo, which is also down about 4/100ths of a point.
Still, it's over 1 million. You got to think
that's from Wrestle Talk.
They got to be happy about that. I mean, it was a pay-per-view quality show last night.
It really was. It was.
But as always, there's competition all over the place. Be it
indeed
politics, sports, or sleep.
Yes, sleep is competition.
Or maybe some solid movies on the television. I don't know.
I don't know what's on. I don't really watch much television outside of wrestling anymore, and occasional episode of Untold if there's new ones on Netflix.
You got to check out, man. You got to check out that Andor series on Star Wars.
I heard good things about that.
I just watched the first one, man. It's good stuff. Wow,
I'll have to check that out.
Wild
stuff. Tonight.
Yeah,
check that out.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Anyways,
speaking of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, we saw a debut last night. Saraya, of course, Paige, in WWE, made her AEW debut to kind of confront Britt Baker. And there's been some talk about whether she had been or will be cleared to resume wrestling after not wrestling for about 5 years, something like that, 4 or 5 years. And so people started noticing that she is on the AEW roster page.
Yep.
With the record, below her name and picture and all that. So I went looking through the AEW roster. And on the men's roster, there's 2 people listed there with win-loss records who I don't believe are going to wrestle and haven't wrestled. They are William Regal.
Oh, okay.
And Stokely Hathaway.
Oh, okay.
I know Mark Sterling has wrestled.
Stokely's wrestled outside of AEW.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
I know Mark Sterling has wrestled. He's been in matches, but he's not a wrestler predominantly.
Yeah.
So I don't know if her appearing on the roster page. Here's the thing: like anybody who's an on-screen presence outside of broadcasting is listed seemingly on the respective men and women's roster page.
Yeah.
They have a separate section for the broadcasting team.
Yeah, like Mark Henry's listed on here as well. He's listed on the roster page. Let's see here. He's wrestled before. Let's not talk about Mark Henry. I was looking at somebody else. Nakazawa. He's wrestled before. Big Show. He's wrestled before. He's on the roster page. What about? Let's see here. What about? So like Vicky Guerrero's not on here. So that's. I mean, it seems to be like. I mean, Regal is surprising. Like Sterling's not surprising at all, and Stokely is not terribly surprising, given that like I could see him easily getting back in the ring
at some juncture. Yeah,
Regal's kind of surprising because I think he said straight up like he's not going to be.
Yeah, his neck is in bad shape.
I think that's probably a no-go. But yeah, I'm trying to think what other managers are there any other managers on screen that Oh, here we go. Okay, so so coaches, yeah. So that's where Vicky is. Billy Gunn, which is kind of surprising because Billy Gunn wrestles fairly regularly.
Frequently enough, you'd think that he would be on the active roster.
Yeah, I mean, Arn Anderson blocked a black mass. How is he not?
That's
he should
true.
He should be in the rankings at that point.
That's true.
I wonder if at that point is when Malachi was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. What am I doing here?
Anyways, we're getting wildly off base. Sorry.
We are. So her appearing on the roster page by itself isn't like an absolute clear indication that she's going to be wrestling.
Yeah. But it's still pretty interesting.
Oh, it is, definitely.
So yeah, I don't know. All you can, honest to God, hope is that with, as Enforcer was saying last night, with the miracles of modern technology and science and medicine, if she's going to wrestle, that neck is strong as can be. You know what I mean? Because that's some scary shit right there. And I know Edge's issue was a neck issue as well, right?
Yep.
Wasn't it? Yeah. So our best to her. Hopefully she's able to convince Tony Khan to add a couple minutes to the women's division there in Dynamite and Rampage, man.
Or a second match per episode. At least
segments,
a
couple more matches.
Yes, a couple more matches, a couple more segments, more stories.
Stories outside the titles.
Just more stories in the women's division on TV.
Yeah,
that would all be massive improvements. Let's talk Good Brothers. So after taking that L to the Motor City Machine Guns, throw them up, Steve.
Seemingly happy to do so as well. If the post match,
they were more than delighted, seemingly to do the honors. It appears Good Brothers' time in Impact Wrestling has come to an end for the time being. Impact put up a video of Gallows and Anderson saying goodbye to Impact for now. These transcripts come from Fightful. This is what Carl Anderson had to say. Quote, Motor City Machine Guns versus the world famous Good Brothers in the marquee box office. It finally happened. Chills in my body just hearing that. Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, nothing but respect for you. Nothing but respect for the Motor City Machine Guns, Impact Wrestling. We got to tell you something. We're leaving for a little while. New Japan Pro Wrestling is where we're going. We've got business we got to take care of across the pond. And then Doc Gallows chimed in saying, we don't say goodbye. We say see you later. I'm happy we got to have a dream match on the way out. What we asked for 2 years with the Motor City Machine Guns until we get back from across the pond. Too sweet.
Too sweet, brother.
So it's clear they're not going to WWE, Steve. Absolutely clear. They're going to go to New Japan, and by this, they're going to go back to Impact. Using their own words here.
I would say they're going to New Japan to drop that Never title so that Carl Anderson can show up without it on WWE programming. that shit is exactly what's happening. Although there is, if Fightful's to be believed, they might have appearances through Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom is early January. The Rumble's late January. Hey, maybe we'll see the Good Brothers at the Rumble. Maybe they'll take their time with this Finn AJ stuff. And by the time AJ really needs some help, he'll signal for Gallows and Anderson. Or maybe they'll be AEW. Maybe they'll be Impact. Who knows, man?
Who knows? According to this is see you later to Impact. So it seems clear to me they're going right back to Impact afterwards, Steve.
Again, it's wrestling. And you know how it is. You know how it is. It's like, me and Hilton, we're out at the bar, and Hilton's like, dude, we don't do this enough. We should do it more. Yeah, dude, absolutely. Let's get together more often.
And then see each other for another year.
It's been like 3 years. That's what this is. Him, the Good Brothers and Impact, they're out having beers right now, and they're like, well, this would be nice, but I got friends I like more over here. In fact, in the form of Paul Levesque. I don't know. That'll be interesting because of all the shit with Paul Heyman. That seems to be. But dude, Sometimes time and especially big bags of money can solve things, and maybe AJ, buttering them up a little bit too. Hey guys, come on. It's a different time now. It's different. That was all Vince.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? It'll be interesting.
Who knows?
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. Larson, more professional athletes are speaking out about the importance of mental health these days, and we've seen several top stars take time away to tend to their own mental well-being. But pro athletes aren't the only ones who need to take care of their mental health, and therapy is the best way for anybody to stay in peak mental shape.
Yeah, I've been there myself before. There was a point in my life about 20 years ago where I was dealing with severe anxiety, and I realized that I needed to go to therapy. But back then, 20 years ago, finding the right therapist was tough, and it took me a while. But once I found a therapist I felt comfortable talking to, I started gaining the tools necessary to better deal with my anxiety. Now, BetterHelp is a great option because it makes that process of finding a therapist much more convenient and accessible. The whole process is done online, so you don't even have to leave your house. And all you got to do to get connected with a therapist is fill out a quick survey. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time.
So when you're ready to feel at the top of your mental health game, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
So we've speculated here on the show about how WWE approaches their talent evaluation process. I mean, we've got some hints just based on, various little rumors and reports and stuff, but I don't believe there's been any specific details on how talent development is evaluated at the Performance Center itself.
Well, I mean, there was obviously that clip from the documentary about when Drozdov was asked to puke. That their talent development, finding a gimmick right there.
That was pre-Performance Center.
Come on, puke, God damn it.
That was prior to the Performance Center.
He's gonna puke.
So, in a recent interview with WrestleRant, WWE Senior Vice President James Kimball detailed how the company comes to their decisions regarding releases, saying, these transcripts come to you from Wrestling Inc., quote, "It literally is 6 months intervals, 2-year mark. You're up or out. Obviously, there's constant evaluation down the Performance Center, Orlando, coaching staff, our staff on site, all the time, constantly evaluating, but formal, deliberate evaluations occur in 6 months periods. At that time, and again, those all kind of flow in and around the same time of entry points. We'll do a tryout, and then we'll do a set of releases. I would say that was incorporated around the same time that this entire new strategy was put in place a year ago. That all kind of dovetails with our NIL program, heavy emphasis on collegiate athletics, heavy emphasis on putting a real system in place that replenishes and drives itself, where we already know where we're going 6 months, 12 months from now already." And then Kimball also added that if talents at the PC who have been signed but aren't ready for NXT after 2 years in the system are apparently let go.
Yeah.
That's like the 2 years he referenced here earlier.
Yeah. That's not shocking. I mean, so many of them take to it so quickly.
Yeah.
That unless somebody who's really, really special, I feel like 2 years is plenty of time.
I'll say this. I'll counter with this. There have been a lot of people. Not a lot, numerous people who are in early NXT. First name pops in my head is Angelo Dawkins.
Mm-hmm.
He was in NXT for years, like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And he was on TV sporadically before Street Profits, obviously. But that's a situation where, for whatever reason, it seemed more just in terms of finding a character that worked.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed to be more the thing that would get him on TV. So I don't know if it's a situation where it's simply if in 2 years you're not ring ready, then, they'll let you go. Or if it's just they don't think, for whatever reason, 2 years you're not ready, they'll let you go.
Well, I mean, if they aren't ready for NXT after 2 years in the system. I mean, that sounds less like, we don't have anything for you character wise. It sounds more like, man, you got to figure out how to run those ropes, son. It's been 2 years. Get the fuck out of here. But I don't know. Maybe it's 2 years. Yeah, they can wrestle all right, but we haven't really found anything. We don't know that we can crack you as a character. So like, is this even going to work? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we don't know what their criteria is for continuing them on in the process versus saying, okay, at this interval here, this 6-month interval, you're not up to where we want you to be. So therefore, in whatever capacity that is,
I wonder if it's just like either we see it or we don't. It's like, hey, maybe this guy's decent in the ring, but not like good enough that we'd be like, oh no, we're gonna keep you around until we can crack your character. I imagine it's probably a combination of variables.
Yeah, I would think so. They might have like a checklist.
Right? Yeah. On
camera charisma, check.
Yeah.
Promo ability, check.
Yeah.
Can run ropes, check.
Can take a bump? No, can't do that. He starts crying every time he does that. Oh, what's his name?
That would
Steve.
Yeah, that'd be me too.
There's the other goal, Larson, him too.
Get up holding my neck every time. Well, you're not supposed to be selling neck. That's not the story here.
These guys are in their 40s now.
No, this is the shoot. Norman Smiley, this is the shoot.
I've never seen two 40-year-olds cry so much. That fat one over there crapped his pants the other day. He tried to hide it, but he did. We all smelled it. Norman Smiley had to pick some up off the mat. He's pissed off. He wants this guy out of here. It's only been 6 weeks. Oh, man. Speaking of WWE Developmental, NXT is sort of awkwardly phasing back into their black and gold era.
Yeah.
The logo itself it's white, so it's not black and gold. It's white and gold.
Well, I mean, yeah. But I mean, like, you could tell they've changed the color palette to harken back to those years.
Right. So they have
for the logo, but everything else is the same right now.
The logo itself has the gold and black trim, but everything else, I think that's why they did these tapings.
Yeah, I think it's this week and then next week have been taped, and then
I think isn't Halloween? It's going to lead up to Halloween Havoc, right?
Halloween Havoc might what is Halloween Havoc?
I think it's early October, isn't it? Halloween starts earlier these days, the season anyways.
Oh, I mean, it starts in July, basically. Oh, it's Halloween Havoc's the 22nd.
Oh, shit, really? Okay.
So it's like just the weekend before.
So if they're going to make any changes to the Performance Center, to the actual space, and get rid of that horrible vomit color palette they got going on now, I guess it's going to happen before Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, too, if it was going to be earlier in the month, if they're going to kind of have this re-debut for NXT.
Yeah.
At the premium live event, but it seems like no, that's not going to be the case. So maybe I guess they'll kick off October with new look NXT.
Mm-hmm. Seems like it. Yeah. If that's going to be the case, maybe they're just going to. I'd be hard pressed.
The yellow lined or outlined graphic and everything else just color vomit.
Yeah, I'd be kind of surprised if they kept it that way. Otherwise, why would they be taping all these? So we'll find out soon enough. We had a return. Well, okay. What do you want to talk about first? The cool shit or the lame shit? The first thing on your notes is the lame shit.
Yeah, because it's
bad news first is always better.
Yeah, let's get the bad news out of the way. So to open the show, Shawn Michaels told Solo Sikoa he wasn't an official. He wasn't supposed to be an official competitor in the North American title match against Carmelo Hayes because he wasn't one of the names up for fan vote. And therefore, he shouldn't have been in the match at all. Decision isn't going to stand. He has to hand over the North American title.
Yeah.
And I understand him if they just want to kind of like tie up that little story thread of him saying, I have next for like months.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally wins it.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But him having that North American title adds so much to his story on main roster. It's like if you're in Bloodline, you kind of have to have a title. You know, and I mean that's like the thing they're getting on Sammy about.
Yeah,
one of the things they're getting on Sammy about is you got to pull your weight around here. And part of that I think is symbolized or but with them having a belt, you have a title, you're pulling your weight.
Yeah,
you know, and to have him win it, cool. Show up on SmackDown with it, cool, and then just to have to give it up, it's pretty lame.
It is lame. Create a new title, the All Pacific title. and then have him win that, just because what you're saying is totally true. Like the point of the Bloodline, hey, we all got titles. Sammy doesn't. He's the utility player until we don't need him anymore. Then we're going to jump his ass out of here. Yep. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. I wonder if, and on top of that, they had him defended on SmackDown, which was probably an ill-advised move. It kind of feels like, HBK and Triple H. It's like if I was in control of developmental and you were in control of main roster, we're trying to figure shit out as we're entering this new landscape. And I get the feeling that maybe there were some good intentions here, but maybe they just realized that it's a little bit like, well, there were good. This is such a nerdy analogy. There were some good intentions behind launching the Netflix Marvel universe. And it was supposed to be part of the Prime MCU. And then when they realized that production-wise, it would be a fucking nightmare to do that, they were like, yeah, those shows aren't really canon, except now they're going to sort of recanonize Daredevil, I guess.
Yeah.
So, maybe they just realized from a production standpoint, it's not going to really work for what we want to do in NXT and how we're going to handle on main. So let's just sort of retcon that and then bring that back on over here. And they just did it as cleanly as they possibly could. I appreciated that they really gave an effort, although it was lacking somewhat in cinematography basics. The little, thing where Shawn Michaels and Carmelo was there and Solo was there. And I thought Solo did a really good job of, like you said, sort of tying up that loose end, saying, hey, I told you I had next. I liked that. I thought that was good, and Carmelo's dismissiveness was good. And even HBK referring to his own history. Although, let me ask you this, because he said, I've had to do this before. I know what it's like.
And it sucks.
Was he referring to the time that he gave up the title himself and was saying that he lost his smile?
I believe so.
Because that's the only time I can think of. I wasn't watching during all the World Heavyweight Championship reign later on necessarily. I was watching a bunch of that. But I don't think he ever vacated it beyond the time when he vacated it because he didn't want to drop it to Brett.
Not that I'm aware of.
I've been there before. I didn't want to do the job to Brett.
And it sucks.
But it was kind of fun to sit there with Vin Man next to me. And I was doing my best acting job. Yeah.
Let's talk about the good news now. Ilya Dragunov is in NXT Prime. He made his debut.
This sword is here.
To confront Braun Breaker after the main event. And JD, Jordan Devlin's reaction was fantastic.
Oh, that was great. Yeah.
Where he was he had just beat Tyler Bate, become new number one contender for the NXT title.
Yeah.
Ilya's music plays and his attention just goes right to the ramp and he's screaming, no!
Oh man, it was bloody murder. The only part that they really need to sit down Braun Breaker and give this fucking guy a character, or at least give him some direction.
I know.
He acts like a fan half the time. When Ilya's music hits and Jordan Devlin starts screaming no, what did Braun Breaker do? He just had a big goofy grin on his face like, oh, wow, this is cool. Look, I watch UK. I think it's great. This guy is awesome. He's from the Soviet Union.
Well, I guess the way and maybe I'm reading into it too much, is his reaction was, oh, cool, I get to face and beat this guy now.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think his character's motivation in the moment was, oh, cool, more competition. I like this guy because he's a good guy. But Ilya was dominant. He beat Walter, right?
Yeah.
And Jordan Devlin is reacting appropriately. Like, not only, oh my God, this guy is throwing a wrench in my plans. I thought I escaped him, and now he's followed me. Fuck this, right?
Yeah.
Braun Breaker should be looking at this guy who Braun said earlier, I want to face Tyler Bate. We had a banger of a match. That's who I want to face. There's the subtext there should be of, Jordan Devlin's a fucking weirdo. This guy creeps me out. He might get in my head and he might take this title off me. Tyler Bate will face me man to man, face to face. I don't know about Jordan Devlin. He'll use whatever it takes, and he's weird. And so shouldn't he be concerned that Jordan Devlin is so concerned about Ilya, and then he would feel a bit disconcerted as well? That would add more drama to it than he had that Braun half smile on his face like, I'm still just happy to be here.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know, man. If you want to heighten the tension, everybody should be like, oh man, this guy is a fucking wrinkle in our plans.
Yeah. Maybe at the same time, though, if he sees Ilya coming out and he's like, oh, okay, this guy's here now. He's like the guy that can get in JD's head. This is the guy that can get Devlin off his game. So that's good for me.
Yeah, I know. It's just when we have to sit here and speculate, we know exactly why Jordan Devlin's upset.
Oh, yeah, and it's great. His reaction was great. I thought Ilya, when he got to the ring and got in Braun's face and JD got in their space, and you looked at him like, what the hell are you doing here? Why are you in my space?
Earlier on, when like even last week, Carmelo Hayes, when Solo Sikoa came out, he was shitting himself. He's like, damn it, this was not part of the plan. I thought I had this wrapped up. I just think that Braun Breaker needs somebody to sit down and say, look, I understand that he's the kind of guy who will take on all comers. He's babyface. It doesn't suit him because he's so one-dimensional. When he sits there and he's got a big smile on his face, if I have to search for reasons why he has that goofy smile on his face, I just feel like he's not doing his job effectively.
So I didn't notice at the time. After JD won and Braun got in the ring, I assume his reaction was just, all right, well, I got to face him, hold the title in his face and whatnot. I don't recall. Granted, I really wasn't paying that close attention because I was probably taking notes. Any sort of hesitancy from Braun in relating to what you said, which was, oh, crap.
Yeah.
JD won.
Yeah.
He's going to try to get in my head again.
Yeah.
It's not going to be just, one-on-one, may the best man win. It's going to be mind games. I don't want that. I want Tyler Bate because then it's just a wrestling match,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then if that was there and then Ilya comes out and assuming this is a lot of assumption here and assuming Braun watched UK, they'd be like, oh, Ilya's here. He's going to mess with Devlin and that's good for me.
Yeah. But here's the thing, dude. If he didn't get, I'm watching it back right now.
All right.
If he didn't get in that ring hesitantly because now he's got to face the guy he didn't want to face, then he's still doing it wrong. And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. If he should have gotten in the ring and been like, shit, I got to face this guy. All right.
They're doing all these replays. They're doing these replays right now. I'm trying to get to the spot here. But yeah, I just think that in general, I think that his character needs to be so much more fleshed out. So he's getting in the ring, he's chewing his gum.
Totally. And that's
he ain't smiling.
Could be inexperience on his part, it's just learning the subtleties of the performance of professional wrestling.
So they're barking at each other. It's not shocking. There's no hesitancy. He's just saying, I'm going to run you down. Do you remember though? And I know this is a high standard, but it's the gold standard. That's why I bring it up and everybody should aim for this. Kurt Angle was such a fully formed character when and the only reason I bring up Kurt Angle necessarily because he's the gold standard, but also he did it from like day one.
Yeah,
like he knew how to inhabit his character. He knew that shit. And I just feel that Braun Breaker, and again, Kurt Angle, he was a heel. He was a bad guy. He was the arrogant. It's like, Matt, why is this guy like talking about intensity, integrity, intelligence, all this kind of stuff? He's just being really condescending. And it's like, oh, he's a prick. Which was a brilliant move on their part to make him a prick. And like with Braun, there needs to be layers there. They're trying to make him, hey, I am who I am. Honestly, I think they're trying to just make him whatever his real name is, Braun Steiner, I guess. Or Reichsteiner, huh?
Bronson Steiner.
Bronson.
Bronson.
Bronson Reichsteiner, is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why he doesn't work as a champion for me personally, because there's no depth there. Like he's a Steiner, but he's not even doing anything the Steiners really did beyond the superficial, which he can't help because he's literally a Steiner.
Yeah, I know.
It's like he kind of sounds like him. He has the throwback gear, to reference them.
He does the barking and
he'll make little references
one of his
here and
dad's
there.
Or uncle's moves from time to time,
and he seems like a very pleasant guy. But I like the guy who was like, you want a friend, get a dog. He seemed a lot cooler back then, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just want a little bit of depth.
Yeah, totally. Some added dimension would be great. Let's talk about the added dimension of Damon Kemp in the midst of this heel turn he's in, admitting to multiple felonies
wow.
that he undertook in an effort to break up Dynamite.
Yeah.
He assaulted Roderick Strong in the parking lot of Performance Center.
Yeah.
That's one.
I mean, there's got to be. Maybe
busted up his phone.
Yeah. Property
damage.
Yeah. And it's an iPhone too. He ain't a big dummy, so it's probably over a G right there. I'm not sure what the line is for how much, the property damage.
Yeah.
Like Grand Theft Auto, I know is like a certain level. But stuff below that. There's that. There might be at least maybe within the NXT WWE developmental guidelines something about taking cash money from another competitor as a hit on somebody.
Yeah. There's also obstruction of justice. There is the security cam footage that he tried to destroy on Roddy's phone.
Yeah.
So if there was an investigation happening and he obstructed said investigation, he's criminally liable for that potentially.
These days, you can just put it all out there and nothing happens to you, though. We've seen that happen quite prominently, Larson.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I thought it was pretty funny. This dude was just outlining his entire grand scheme.
I know. It was like the end of Murder, She Wrote.
It was.
The culprit finally gets caught. And they just tell the whole plan.
Matlock had him up on the stand, man. He broke him like he does every time. Matlock was like the greatest attorney that ever lived. He just would break people on the stand all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty impressive. Let's see here. Ilya came back. So, I mean, clearly JD is going to lose. Going back to the title picture here, JD's going to lose to Steiner, and is Steiner going to drop that shit?
According to Wikipedia, it's a triple threat match now. It's Braun versus Ilya versus JD.
Was that announced at the end of the show?
Not that I noticed, but it's here on Wikipedia, so it's got to be real.
Maybe that's that's definitely true. Maybe that's in the next taping. They're going to announce that as being the case.
I don't know if it's something they put up on like a graphic afterwards or something, on social media.
Yeah.
If that's the case, they can follow through on the story of Ilya just having JD's number and have him win the title, and then he can beat Braun 101 later down the line. Braun could go up to main roster next year. And Ilya could be the guy in NXT.
Can we please have? Oh man, Ilya versus Carmelo. Ooh, oh my goodness, that'd be great. That'd be something. Yeah, there's a lot of situations there. There's a lot of people there, or there's a couple people anyways in NXT. But yeah, the Braun he should go up to main roster and let the UK kids take over NXT for a spell. We all know that's where this is headed anyways. HBK and Triple H, they love those NXT kids, man.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let's jump into it. So the show started with, earlier in the day, Carmelo and Solo walk into Shawn Michaels' office. And Solo says, hey, this title looks good on me. Melo, you shot and you missed. And Melo says, no, I don't ever miss. So Shawn Michaels interrupts and he says, I brought you here because the way that match ended, Solo, you competed in a match you weren't supposed to be in. So the result of that match can't stand. You got to hand over the North American title. I had to do it once. It sucks. And Solo says, yeah, I get it. I just had some unfinished business in NXT I had to take care of. And Shawn Michaels says, what you've done in NXT is staggering. Good luck on main roster. And that's when Solo says to Carmelo, I told you I had next. And then Carmelo tells Solo to beat it.
Get out of here,
he says,
Scram.
hey, Heartbreak, thanks for making the right decision. And Shawn Michaels goes, no, hold on a second here. You tried to outsmart the system, and you got burned. Anytime you think you're smarter than this business, the business will slap you in the face.
Whoop.
He says, you got to compete against 4 other superstars in a ladder match at Halloween Havoc.
So we had one of those qualifiers.
Later on.
That was the Grayson Waller match, right?
Yeah, versus Oro Mensah, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So he's going to be in that match, so that'll be good. First match of the night, though, was Axiom versus Nathan Frazier. This is match 2 in their best of 3 series. Correct. Axiom was up 1-0. Right, is that right?
Yeah. Yes. Axiom won the first one.
Yeah, because Nathan Frazier picked this one up with the Phoenix Splash. Again,
it's a really fun match, too.
These guys, obviously, A-Kid and Nathan Frazier, they've got terrific chemistry, and you could just watch them wrestle all day long.
Oh, yeah. Heck yes. Mm-hmm. Then we got an Alba Fire video package. Talk about taking Mandy's title, and then she's going to burn Mandy's empire to the ground.
To the moon. And then we had Toxic Attraction there in the Toxic Lounge. They're like, Mandy says, yeah, I'm not impressed by Alba Fire. Next week, I'm going to take out Fallon, and when the time comes, I'll do the same thing to Alba. But tonight, Gigi and JC are going to show everyone why there's toxic attraction, and then there is everybody else. Then we had this like 5-minute long Damon Kemp video package. He throws down his first off. It shows like a dramatic shot of him throwing down his Diamond Mine singlet, and then he spray paints like an X through it, meaning either suck it or I'm done with this. He says, the look on the Creed's face was priceless after I cost them the tag titles. And he reveals, and this is great because there's security footage of like Roger Strong slapping the money out of Tony D'Angelo's hands and it going to the ground. And then it goes, and it shows Damon Kemp picking it up and saying, hey, is this offer still open? Yeah. So it showed that. He said, so he reveals that he was the guy who was on the take from Tony. He thought it was all set up so Tony and Sax could win the tag titles. But then Santos got involved. That was not expected. He says it was all set up until Roderick got his hands on the security footage. So I made sure to destroy that footage when I grabbed the phone and I threw it. He says, and where's Roddy now? Oh, and then he says, and then I beat up Roddy in the parking lot. By the way, he's still in the hospital. He says the Creeds were pissed at me before, but man, I can only imagine how they feel now. He says, I'm a world-class athlete, but I'm not going to fight them 2-on-1. That's unfair.
That was great.
He says, but I'll take on either one of them 1-on-1.
Yeah, I'm a world-class athlete, but I'm not going to fight them 2-on-1. That's unfair.
Yeah.
That was pretty great.
Yeah, he was good. He's really chewing up the scenery here, man.
He really was. After that, we got Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley backstage, and Ivy is upset, saying that Kemp basically destroyed Diamond Mine. Mm-hmm. And Tatum's like, the Creeds will take care of that. You need to focus on this match. And Ivy says, I am focused.
They're all falling apart, man. The bit later on with the Creeds was fucking hilarious too.
That was pretty funny.
So we had Toxic Attraction versus Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Toxic Attraction gets the win here, covering Ivy Nile for the win. Ivy Nile needs to find a new partner, man.
Yeah. Then we got a Schism promo. We can move on.
Lord, yeah.
It was just again saying, no more opportunities for you, Cameron Grimes. Our wrath is imminent. And then Idris Enofe and Malik Blade run to the ring. They brawl with the Grizzled Young Veterans. Ref gets out there. We get a match. Malik Blade had an awesome Argyle sweater vest that he wrestled in.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
He's been rocking those sweaters, man. Those sweater vests.
It was pretty great. It was awesome. So Grizzled Young Veterans get the win here. Gibson chops Enofe in the throat, tags in Drake. He hits Enofe with a destroyer off Gibson's back, and then they hit Ticket to Ride to get the win.
That is correct. After that, we had a Roxanne Perez, Mako Satomura video package. So is that match happening next week? When's that happening?
It already happened. They already had that match.
Why are they still talking about them then?
It was because Roxanne was saying the match was awesome and I earned Mako's respect and I found a new level of toughness that I never knew I had before, and I'm going to use that against Cora.
Yeah, Roxanne does not a lot for me. She's a really good wrestler.
She is a really good wrestler.
Her character is just devoid of any personality whatsoever. Somebody who's not devoid of personality, Wendy Chu. She's amazing. She's great. Took on Cora Jade. Cora Jade was able to use heel tactics here to get the win. Hit a DDT after Chu hits a turnbuckle. It was an exposed turnbuckle, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Was it? I thought I saw Cora Jade trying to expose that turnbuckle.
Oh, that could be because Cora, Wendy charged Cora. Cora got out of the way. Wendy went to those turnbuckles face first, and then Cora hits the DDT. And then Lash Legend gets in the ring afterwards and hits Wendy with a pump kick.
She did that in heels, too.
Yeah.
Those were tall-ass heels.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. After that, we had Braun Breaker. Yeah!
No, it was his shoot voice.
Don't deny me the opportunity. It's like one of the few pleasures I get out of doing Braun Breaker.
Well, you can stand for the main event. This was shoot voice Braun here. He says, I want to thank the NXT Universe for voting me for Superstar of the Year. And tonight, Tyler Bate has speed and power, and JD, he can dissect you. But, this match could go either way. But I'm going to go with Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate's going to win.
Tyler Bate's going to win. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Voice.
Need
voice.
Just get a dog, get a friend.
Shoot voice, Steve.
Boo. Boring. After that, we had Mello and Trick backstage. Trick said, "Today's a new day. You are Carmelo Hayes."
Yeah.
I'm just reading your notes here.
I know. He was trying to hype him up after, the heartbreak from Heartbreak about not getting his title back.
Yeah.
Being this ladder match.
Yeah.
He was just trying to pump him up. We got an Oro Mensa interview. He says he came to NXT to face the very best. Grayson is one of the best, and he'll tell you so. And he starts to talk about the uniqueness of his name. He says Oro means gold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Ghana, country of gold, so it only makes sense. Tonight I'm going to qualify for that ladder match at Halloween Havoc. I appreciate it when someone gets a new name and they make an effort to explain it.
Man, I'm totally cool with people getting new names. It's just like when it's just, oh yeah, this is a new name because it's alliterative. I don't like that. But yeah, I love when they do this stuff. Like the Finn Balor explanation, the Deo Itami explanation. I love when they did that stuff. I thought it was cool. After that, we had a Carmelo and Trick promo. Trick tells everybody, shut up when Mello speaks. Now talk your talk, Mello. Mello says, vote or no vote, I'm still the biggest superstar in NXT, period. He said, I told you that they're praying for my downfall, and last week only proved it. So I want the person who played Solo's music, who rang the bell, and the ref all fired. I don't care what bloodline Solo comes from. Solo came into my house and stole something that belongs to me, and I'm still the A-champ. Then Andre Chase and Chase U walk to the ramp, and Chase tells Mello, he says, I saw what happened to you last week, and what we have here is
and then Mello interrupts and says, stop. Now's not time for that.
Now. And Chase says, you might not want to hear this, Mello, but last week was a...
And then Trick says, you better not finish that last line.
And then Chase gets in the ring and says, well, what we have right now is a teachable moment. Oh, Mello takes a swing, but Chase beats him to the punch, decks him out of the ring. And then we have a tag match, obviously, to get Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams this win, sort of get them on momentum here. And it's an easy win against Andre Chase and Bodie Hayward, right?
No, you're wrong. Chase rolls up Carmelo to get the win.
This was hilarious. This was
great.
Absolutely hilarious, and Mello sold this so well. I love when they do stuff like this because that's what you think is going to happen. Oh, Chase U comes out, they're going to get chumped out. Nope. They get the win wasn't even on Trick. You rolled up Carmelo, and Carmelo was like, what the fuck just happened? That was great.
Yep. Andre Chase has been putting some wins together.
I know. They are wildly over. Chase
really
U
are.
is supremely over, and it's honestly, there's so much of that has to do with Andre Chase. He's so fucking good. He is so
really
good.
He is really good. This next bit was great. So you got Gallus backstage. They're playing cards, or Mark Coffey and Wolfgang are, and Joe Coffey is throwing some darts. Briggs and Jensen step in with Fallon. Fallon tells Gallus, oh, you're getting pretty comfortable around here, huh? And then Joe says, yeah, we like it here.
Yeah.
And then Jensen says, oh, is this seat here available for this game? And the Wolfgang says, no, this is a closed game. The kids' game is over there.
Ooh, yeah. And
then Briggs says, well, rather than sit at this table, let's put them through a table. And they all start talking crap. And security steps in so they don't fight.
The most offensive part of this is when Briggs and Jensen walks in. Briggs looks at the Scottish flag and says, what's that X mean?
Yeah.
So offensive. Anyways, I say that with a grain of salt. After that, Chill Sangha. My God, the beef on that guy. Holy moly. Versus the street champ, the dumpster champ, Von Wagner. Hey, Chill Sangha, you're not going to take my dumpster championship away from me. But if you do, I don't give a shit. Anyways, so Sangha looks to choke. So Stone comes flying off the ring steps. They're on the outside. Stone comes flying off the ring steps. Sangha looks to choke slam Stone onto the floor. Von Wagner pushes Sangha into the ring steps, gets him in there, and quite impressively hits his finisher, which is like he gets somebody up into the fireman's position and then has their legs all wrapped up and then hits the whatever. Hits his finish on Sangha to get the win for Von Wagner. I'm still the dumpster champ.
Yeah.
Hey,
if he lost, folks,
street
don't
champ.
give a shit.
If I lost, I don't give a shit. Tomorrow's another day. Yesterday.
So then we had a quick Wesley video package. He's going to be in a qualifier for the North American title ladder match, and he says he's going to earn a shot at that title. Next, we have a Stax interview, and he says that Wesley has rocks for brains.
Mm-hmm,
He says you should always take the free ride because next week Wesley's taking on the Don of NXT, Tony D'Angelo.
I'm not going to lie. Wesley did admit that he was offered a shot at the North American title, and he decided instead to go through a ladder match with 4 other people. What a dummy. Like, take the shot, man. 1-on-1? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That dude, he needs to get his shit together. That was a bad move. I'm Team Stacks on this particular issue.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man.
Wow. We had a Cameron Grimes promo. He's talking about how he's going to chop down that schism tree, put it in the wood chipper, and use it as fuel to go to the moon.
See, that'd be a cool gimmick for him. Guy who puts people in wood chippers like Fargo.
He wasn't putting schism in the wood chipper. It's their tree, the tree they talk about.
He's going to chop down that schism tree. Schism tree is a metaphor for schism themselves, dude. He was talking about putting them in the wood chipper, and that wood chipper's going to send them to the moon. It's going to be a blood moon. After that, we had Grayson Waller, who's not putting together wins these days, versus Oro Mensah. So this was interesting. So Waller is looking for his finish because he finds himself on the outside conveniently for his finish again.
Yeah, I know.
Because you got to be on the outside to hit your finish, which is going to be interesting for 2K23.
Yeah.
And as he's running, Apollo Crews all of a sudden just materializes. And he's standing there, and then the camera zooms in on him, and his eye is bleeding.
Yeah.
And he's smiling about it. And Waller's so put off. He's like, what the fuck? Blah. And then and then Mensah hits Waller with a tope, puts him in the ring, completely no-sells the presence of Apollo Crews in his bleeding eye.
Yeah.
And he hits a spinning heel kick in the corner as his finish for the win here. And then Crews just standing there grinning with his bleeding eye. And
bleeding eye, I know.
There is no way this guy is cleared to wrestle. He needs to go get that figured out.
No. Yeah, he needs to get that looked at.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, the trainer's room.
Somebody who's running with some scissors down Chase U's hallway.
Next, we're in the Diamond Gym. The Creeds are working out, and then Brutus and Julius are just arguing about who's going to beat up Damon Kemp.
Yeah.
And Julius is like, well, I'm the one that he hit with the chair. I'm the one that he handcuffed to the cage, and Brutus is making his case. And eventually Julius is like, fine. But here's the thing. Don't worry about the match. I just want you to end Kemp's career. Yeah.
Wins and losses don't matter. But I guess if you do it, like, it's okay if you do it in the ring itself. If you actually, hurt a person to the point where their career is done with.
I guess we'll find out, won't we?
I guess we will. After that, we had another. Here's a quick confession for you. How many of these Sol Ruca video packages have they run, Larson?
3 or 4.
I have seen none of them somehow.
Really?
I accidentally, I guess, keep fast forwarding through them. I have not seen a lick of these Sol Ruca video packages. So in my mind, Sol Ruca, the name itself sounds like an ancillary character in The Godfather. Sol Ruca came over.
Okay.
Sol Ruca's on his way to Al Green's house, and he's going to deliver a message. But I don't think that's what Sol Ruca is.
No, it's like she's surfing and stuff.
Yeah, well, number one, it's a woman, and she's a surfer, not a gangster from the 1950s.
Nope.
Sol Ruca has a message for Al.
That's a pretty decent Michael Corleone there.
You like that? That's good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I've been watching. I told you this. I was watching The Offer.
Yeah,
that show on Amazon Prime about the making of The Godfather. The guy that they got to play fucking Al Pacino does the worst overbearing, cartoonish Al Pacino impression.
So is it Al Pacino today or Al Pacino back then?
I wish it was like an old Al Pacino gruff, like, oh, I'd love to do this movie. Yeah. But it's not. It's like this. Hey,
it really does.
It's
really
doing this right here. I don't know about this role right now. It's so overdone. The guy looks dead on like him. Yeah. But he's so cartoonish.
Yeah. You're not really selling that show for me very much, Steve.
It's not terribly good.
All right. Well.
And I have not endeavored to watch it again beyond the first 2 or 3 episodes. But I'm not opposed to it because I want to see if they ever get this movie made. I want to see if they ever get one of my favorite movies made. Or if they stray from history and the mob won, they got their way.
Yeah,
no Godfather.
Never greenlit by Paramount.
Yeah.
Then we got a main event, Tyler Bate versus JD McDonough. As we've seen from these two before, they can put on great matches. This was a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah.
finished Devlin. So it's not Devlin's side anymore. They just call it Devlin's side.
Yeah, that's what I figured they were doing. Yeah.
He hits one of those after a super Spanish fly to get the win. Then Braun gets in the ring. He starts talking crap. Oh, I actually made note of what Braun did. Starts talking crap to JD, and then Ilya's music plays. JD just screams, "No!" No! Ilya comes to the ring. He walks up to Braun, and then JD gets in their space, and Ilya just looks super annoyed at JD. Mm-hmm. What the hell are you doing here? And then they kind of look at each other, and Braun holds up the title between them.
Yeah, I'm the Tsar. I thought you were leaving this company when we had our match. He's like, no, I just went to a different brand. Got a new name, new identity.
He's like, I'm not Jordan Devlin. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm JD McDonough. I'm a new character. I'm on a whole new adventure, Ilya. Oh, my bad. You look exactly like Jordan Devlin.
No, not me. No.
Can't be.
I'm JD McDonough. Look at my name tag.
Even your accent sounds like him.
No, I'm JD McDonough.
You changed your voice all of a sudden.
No, I always talk like this. Since I've been here in NXT. I mean, since I debuted in NXT. Never been to United Kingdom. Never.
Oh, that's great. No, I'm JD McDonough.
There you go, yeah.
He does an Al Pacino accent, yeah. Oh, man. Are they ever going to get this movie made? I don't know. Where's Saul Luca? That's going to do it for us today, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, we've got the Smash Zone at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Should be a fun one. Till next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.